Hey, welcome to my channel. It's Tommy V in Grand Isle, and I promised y'all I would do a video on Fushan and give you a report at the same time. So here we go. The report is no trout on Grand Isle. It's been terrible, unbelievable. Bridgeside has some live shrimp. I tried some live shrimp. I only caught a couple trout. I went to the marsh today, Bay Rambo. Only caught small trout on plastic. Everything I caught was 11 inches. So the wind's blowing like crazy. No good news on Grand Isle so far. It's pretty frustrating. I guess we just have to be patient. So what we're gonna talk about is when it turns good in the next month or so, spring and summer. I've talked about Grand Isle fishing spots on the last video or a couple videos ago, and now we're gonna talk about Fushan. And Fushan's one of my favorite places to fish. And I do have some good news, even with that last hurricane at 120 miles an hour. It knocked over some rocks at Fushan and made some great fishing opportunities. So stay tuned and let's check this out. I did another whiteboard for y'all just to we got a lot of people that never really fished Grand Isle or Fushan much that follow me. And they come here. Got some people from Alabama, got some people from even Michigan that's on the island that follow me in my YouTube. So let's just talk about coming out of pass. If you're coming from Grand Isle, you start right here. This sandbar is what we call the gorilla hole. A lot of guys, y'all heard on my last video, you can go to Elmer's Island. That you turn on Elmer's Island Road. I didn't put the road there, and then they shuttle you all along the beach. So this sandbar right here is where they catch a lot of trout in the surf, all right here, right on that corner. So if you're one of those shuttle guys, there's gonna be a lot of people fishing there in April and May and June. All Elmer's Island beach holes, a lot of speckled trout when the tide is right and when it's calm. It's got to be 5 mile an hour winds or less to surf where you can get in there and fish. But if you if you have a boat and you're coming out of pass, it's about 7 or 8 miles down the beach, past Elmer's Beach. A bunch of good fishing here in the spring and the summer, and then you run into the Fushan barges. You can't miss them. They're a bunch of rock piles on top of some sunken barges here. So there's about 10 of them. I'm just guessing, so don't correct me if I'm wrong. But these rocks are in the front of these rocks. It's about 10 foot of water, and in the back, some of these rocks fell off and fell into water. So be careful with your boat. If it's dirty, you won't be able to see them. But a lot of these rocks have fallen, and there's a bunch of fish that swim on the edges of these rocks and in these rocks. So if you're fishing with a cork and a shrimp or a pogie, you should be okay. But there's a lot of trout there. I caught some in the winter. Y'all saw me there. But in the spring, in the summer, but there's a lot of trash fish that come along with this when the water gets hot and it warms up. You're gonna have ladyfish and mackerel and a bunch of other stuff on those pretty blue water days. So it's pretty clean water days. And then about another 1.5 miles, 2 miles from the Fushan barges, of course, is Bell Pass at Fushan. So if you coming out of Fushan and you launched at the public launch down here, where you just come straight out of Bell Pass, you can put it on your GPS or on your sonar, and these rocks go about from here to here is probably about 1 mile or 2 of rocks. Unlike in Grand Isle, the rocks don't hardly come out here. We just have a little short rocks that come out into the Gulf. These rocks come out about from the beach to here is probably 1/2 mile, maybe, probably 1/2 mile. So you have a bunch of rocks to fish here. And the good news is that last hurricane took those rocks. I couldn't believe it when I went the other day. I have a little video on it. I'm gonna try to put it in here. But these rocks used to be on a pile, real high. You couldn't hardly see the people on the beach side, like we call this the beach side. That's the channel side, beach side, channel side. But all these rocks have fallen into the channel, a bunch of them. So it's real wide, and there's a bunch of rocks that are underwater here. So it's going to be great fishing this spring and summer here, like you've never seen before, because you'll be able to fish on top of those rocks, kind of like you do at coming out of pass over here, but you have a lot more here. And I think there's going to be a lot of big trout that hang out here to spawn because the current comes through here. When that tide's coming in from the Gulf, they hide behind these rocks and feed. And that goes both sides. I mean, the beach side is real good sometimes on an outgoing tide. I like to fish here. Ton of redfish here everywhere on both sides in the channel. And now the day's got to be right. The water's got to be right, you know. And on this side, on the west side, it's good also here. A lot of these rocks have fallen. So you got a ton of area. Even if you got 20, 30 boats, there's enough room on the inside of the channel, outside of the channel. There's plenty of room to fish here. So you got a bunch of options right here that you don't have in Grand Island to pass because the rocks don't stick out that far. So that's pretty much, and this is Fourchon Beach. If you go out the pass and come around here, my friends fish this. Nobody comes here, nobody fishes this beach. And you know what? In the spring and the summer, there's a lot of speckled trout on that beach. So don't forget about that Fourchon Beach. When everybody's at Elmer's Island Beach and you got a boat, you might want to just take a little ride. And look, when it's slow, I'll fish these bars. There's so much rocks to fish here. It's unbelievable. It can hold a lot of boats, a lot of pressure. So that's Fourchon. And coming out of pass all the way to Fourchon, the beach. If you have some questions on that, please leave them in the comment section because it's really simple. I know it's a simple, it looks simple and it really is simple to get there. Just be careful when you're coming across this sandbar, when you coming out of pass. If you haven't done it before, it gets shallow in here and they got some waves. You'll see the waves breaking if they got a little south wind. So just be careful there. It's only about 2 or 3 feet of water. But look, the speckled trout pile up here in the morning, early morning, and all this beach. So spring and summer, that's where you want to be fishing. Like I said, I got a video I'm going to try to put in here and show you all these rocks. It's amazing what happened with that. These gigantic rocks have fallen over, and it's going to make some great reef and structure for the speckled trout. Unbelievable. So check it out, and please subscribe if you hadn't subscribed yet. And pray that the speckled trout come back to Grand Isle soon because I'm going to go crazy if they don't. Hopefully the next video I show you is me catching some speckled trout. The wind's blowing at about 20 miles an hour out the south. It's muddy everywhere. It's tough right now. So hopefully the wind can die down and we can get some good tides and get some water in here, some real strong high tides, and things will change. Get some bait. There's no bait on Grand Isle. I mean, Bridgeside's selling some shrimp, but there's no natural bait in the water. I don't see a lot of bait in the water yet. So now this is the first day. It's about 75 degrees outside, probably of the year. Today's Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. It might get better in a week or two. It might take, April. I know in May, those trout are coming. They're coming to spawn. They're coming to that salt water to spawn. And by the way, the last trout that I caught, they had some small roe in them, some small eggs. So that's good news. That means their body is their natural system is telling them to, it's time to lay time to get ready to spawn. So excited about that. Of course, the speckled trout spawning season. Things are getting ready to get heated up. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell. If you hit the bell, it reminds you every time I do a video, and my reports are going to be fresh and hot. So if you want to know what's going on in Grand Island, if you want to know what's going on in saltwater fishing, learn some tips and some secrets that you don't have right now, stay tuned and stay with us. Tommy V, live in Grand Isle, talking about Fourchon. I wanted y'all to see the hurricane hit these rocks hard right here at Fourchon, which is going to be good for fishing because what it does is take these rocks and get you close right here, and it spreads them out. They were all on a pile, on a line, and now the rocks are falling off the top of the pile and they're underwater. So you'll be able to throw shrimp under a cork, like up in here where it's, it was deep water before and the rocks piled up there. So you get right on the edge of those places this spring and this summer. The Fourchon you know, Bell Pass rocks is going to be great. You see those rocks underwater? Trout love to hang around there, and redfish. But you see how wide it is? I mean, this is the east end. It got hit hard, really hard by Akita. So just wanted to show y'all, you know, what I'm gonna probably be out here more because it's ideal for fishing like shrimp under a cork or pogies. You can throw a free line pogie in there and just let him swim. So in the next couple months, this is gonna be the place to fish. I like what I see. Rocks underwater, structure, and so stay tuned. And I'm throwing a little plastic right here. I wish I had some shrimp, and we're gonna see what happens if I can find some trout or redfish. The other day redfish were everywhere right here, but the tide was coming in hard right here. I don't see it moving much. So stay tuned, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm at Fushon, Bell Pass.